Okay, so it's almost 2. But I'm just excited to download and see how it works. Is yesterday, so when it got here, um, I thought, oh, it shouldn't be that hard to set up. And the plugging it in was easy to figure out that of what gets plugged in where, but they're kind of tight. And one thing I didn't have plugged in all the way, and it kept going off. Like the one thing, the light doesn't go all the time. So I don't know. That's um, because there's parts that are inside and then there's parts that are outside, and that's where the setting up becomes an ordeal. Like the little thing that I didn't have plugged in all the way, that was pretty easy. But the outside, so so the satellite, and it's bigger than an album. It's more like 2 album. It's I don't know, I would say like 3 feet probably long, and then like a foot and a half like across. So it's like a kind of like a small TV, and it has like a kickstand on the back, but you can mount them. It's always got these things about mounting, and that is where also the people that come out to set these up, you have to pay a lot of money. My mom has been asking me a whole bunch of stuff about it. She's like, I just don't understand. Why is everybody on a waiting list out here? Why isn't everybody just doing this? And she's got friends asking about it and stuff. And so, anyways, they're all like, this is interesting. So, but if it's at your house, you could do this. I don't see why you couldn't do this. But I think the mounting thing, but it seems like you can, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird how there's a waiting list out here. But anyways, now I don't know if the word's going to spread on the roaming one or what. But so, but then you could put it up on your roof. And then you would have less obstacles, because that is your thing. Is so it sets out somewhere, and then you have to keep running all these tests, and you have to go in this circle. Oh my God, I was so dizzy after a while, and I kept trying to just do it with my hands, because I got so dizzy, because you have to do a circle and you have to do another one. You know, it's like you keep doing these circles to find a place that is clear. I still don't have a place that's clear. I still have a place, all of my, I did it for a long time too, as far as the cord could reach. But it always has obstacles. The house is an obstacle. Every tree is an obstacle. I don't know how people could do it, like right in town even. It's like, man, there's so many obstacles. And you need it like totally open, clear space. And then you need what even gets more complicated is the thing. Archie's right here. He's like, see this little, you ought to see him when he goes gremlin though. Like this little face is cute until he goes all gremlin, then he looks crazy. So so what gets complicated is that this part in here, so it's like a mini screen. So how it even in the diagram of how it sets up, it shows, but it reminds me of like what I've talked about before about the little science kids who figured out how to use the sun, and then they used it like a weapon on insects, and that is how this is set up too. So this thing outside is like a reflector, like it picks up and reflects into this one or something. Like they work together to create this line of communication. And so you have to have, like, it took a while of having, you had to get this thing tipped all in a certain way, and then it has to be facing this way, so it has to have no obstacles, be facing this way. This one has to be, like, it's a lot of stuff. And so I think that is because if you pay somebody to come out and install it, it's really expensive. And my mom said she's heard of people paying $1,800 out here to have it installed. So it can be really expensive. And it kind of reminds me of solar panel or something, because I had wanted to get solar panels at my other house, but there was I had too many trees. There, you have to have more sun, and so it's like this thing needs more sky too. I don't know that this would have worked at my house. I think it would have been too much. I don't know where I could have even put it. I could have, even if I tried to get it on the roof, the trees still went up. The sun never got like over the trees. It went up to the top of the trees sometimes where it was more barren, and there was some trees that were taller and stuff, but never went like over the top. I mean, and I've noticed that out here too. I watch how the sun goes. So it rises and then it starts going, but it never, it's like she has some tall trees too. It's not the same as over there, but it's, these are like pine trees. But so, and those ones over there, evergreen, I think is, but there's a whole bunch of different kinds too. But then it goes around, goes around, goes around, and it goes over here, and then it goes over there. So it doesn't like how they told us in school, and it's so weird how when you start paying attention, it doesn't do what they say. I mean, it does not go up and over. How it's sometimes you look up and it seems like it's up, but when you watch it, it's not going over us like this. It's going out around us like this. And I don't know if like a few decades ago it was higher. Like I said, if they're like squashing down our atmosphere and they're creating a barrier, and that like a gaseous barrier in between the firmament and this artificial atmosphere sky thing that they have got going, and if that isn't something in there that is creating because there's so much of that on this planet right now, like in this reality, there's so much of this two opposing forces going against each other. And you know, the positive thing is that it turns out good for us. Like it turns out positive. It doesn't turn out negative. But still it's like intense. Oh, it was so weird too. So so anyways, I was like messing with this and messing with this and I was trying to download early, and then it wasn't, it kept on going to like 3% and going back, but I didn't have anything lined up, and I didn't know that. You know, I was just trying to figure this stuff out. Once it was set up, I tried to start, and then I was like, okay, it says it takes 12 hours to really know its business out there. And so I was like, okay, I'll just give it, you know, I'll wait and see. And so I was messing with my TV and trying to get off of my mom's thing. It kept bouncing me back. I had to forget hers. And then, so I have no TV because my Roku remote, nothing goes together. My Roku on my phone won't acknowledge the Roku. I brought two different ones. It won't acknowledge either of those. The remote won't work with either of them. It's the weirdest shit. So anyways, I ordered another remote, and so hopefully I'll but I don't have TV again until that happens. And then what was I gonna say? So anyways, I was messing with that for a while, trying to get the Roku, trying to get something to work. And at some point then the Starlink sends me a message, oh, you're online now, you are it's all situated. So here's your bill. I was like, what? I just paid for this. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Here's my bill. And so I kept thinking that I paid for the thing, and then the first month, and it was $50. I swear to God, it was written like that on the thing. And so then so I was like, what in the hell? And I was frustrated, especially because this is another one of these things you can't get through to anybody, you can't ask anybody anything. I was like, if I already paid this, and I was like, now if they're saying I got to pay this, is it going to go off? And so then I got another thing. Last night I was just frustrated and tired, and I went to bed. And I had left it downloading, and it skipped back and started back over because I decided to try it again. And then I was just like, just let it do its thing. Maybe it'll take all night. I didn't know what was going to happen. The next time I got up, it was on. It had been on for an hour or something. So it went pretty fast once it starts going. So anyways, that's why I'm excited to see how it does on this. Is that one day when my mom was off and I had the TVs off and everything off and my phone, she was using all the juice, and it still took like 8 or 9 hours to download. So this, it seems like it's only, well, we'll see. I'll see how this one goes, because I think once it started working right, because it kept skipping back. So I just got to see, because it still has obstacles, but everywhere I tried, there was obstacles. So, and it has these lights. And so this one, it seemed like this was the most positive where it is, and it's in alignment with this one. And every time I go and check, I'm still on, and it's still working and stuff. And it's like, oh my God. And, oh my God, it was an ordeal. I was tired. And then this morning I got an email that said, here's your bill. And so I was looking on the other thing, and it says that it was 33 for taxes and 20 for shipping, and that was the 50. But I swear to God, on the thing, on the other receipt thing, it said 50 for the 50 GBs for the month and the unit. And so, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way they worded it or something. But I didn't see anything about that tax. So anyways, now I owe this month still for this pay, which I don't know how much I'm going to be using. I may have to go on the one that's $150 a month. But but I was all worried, like, oh great, now they're going to turn it off because I don't get paid till Wednesday now. And but I have till the 9th, it says. If you haven't paid by the 9th, then there'll be a disruption in service. Because also there was a thing about you were supposed to have the first month for free for a trial. And which, you know, it would be good for me to know how much gigabytes or whatever I'm going to be using. Because they, in their things, it doesn't even have like downloading as an option. It's got like if you're a gamer, if you watch videos, but downloading your own videos. So I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, maybe downloading will go faster than like the gaming ones or whatever. I don't know how much all this different stuff takes. So anyways, we'll see how it goes, and I'll see how it goes today if it does better. But anyways, it's like, see, like all these weird fucking noises all the time. So weird. And we were all laying there. I was being really uncomfortable because Stella is squishing me up on the top. Like, she's just like giving me only a little bit of space, and Archie on the bottom. So they got me like crammed over against the thing, and they're like leaning on me. I was just like so uncomfortable. And so I was kind of laying there and trying to go to sleep and trying to move around. And then there was this loud crash. I don't think it was me pushing on anything. I wasn't moving or anything when it happened. I was just laying there. And then all of a sudden there was this loud crash. And the dogs jumped up, of course. And so I went out and turned on the lights, and I was looking. I couldn't find anything that fell. It's like, what in the hell was that? It was so loud. And it sounded like something tipped over. A bunch of boxes fell or something. And then I couldn't find anything. And so then I just got up, and because I just cannot get comfortable. And then came out here and was sitting, and the dogs were out here sitting. And so we're all sitting here, and all of a sudden there was another crash. Only it was like outside, like a crash by the garage door again or something. I was like, what in the hell is this up with this, all this fucking crashing and all these weird noises and stuff? It's like so weird. Everything is just still seems so weird. And you know, I think you know, it's me being annoying about things probably. But yeah, my hands have been so dry. like crazy dry. Like I've never, my hands are not usually dry like this. And I noticed every time I would turn on my mom's faucet, I could smell chlorine or bleach. And I was like, fuck, her water. So I am only giving the dogs the same water that I'm not giving them any of her water anymore, which made me think you know, when I said all these people look sick out here. And I said that to my mom. I said, when I was sitting there at Rosar's, I was like, what the hell? All these people look like decrepit going in here. It's like, what is going on in this area? And she said, there's tons of MS out here too. It's like, see, I'm telling you, there is like, we are petri dishes. Areas are petri dishes of testing. I'm telling you. And so I think there's definitely something in the water that's probably causing an effect on people. But I could definitely smell chlorine or bleach smell or something. Anyways, I was up there to put lotion on my hands or something, and I told my mom, I said, you know what I noticed is that there is the water is the problem with the dry skin because it smells like bleach or chlorine or something. And she's like, I don't care. I don't care. I was like, what? You don't care if there's bleach or chlor? And she's like, no, I don't care. I was like, I think it's like, it's because I'm constantly pointing out all of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think the people around me get sick of it. It's like, do you know what you're breathing? Do you know what you're drinking? Do you know what you're eating? It's like, so I don't know. I, I'm obsessed or something, I guess. I don't know. It's all a spectrum, man. Because to me, I don't understand how it seems like nobody pays any attention or nobody cares. To me, it seems like, dang. And I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, when you go wash your hair, it's gonna dry out your hair more. It's gonna dry out your skin more. And then oh, yeah, when your skin is dry, it absorbs like all this stuff. So, oh yeah, you can put something in there. You want something to absorb into someone's skin, and then you dry it out. So it kind of, not little cuts, but kind of like that. It's like little openings or something. And then it has a place for the stuff to kind of seep in the other stuff, you know? Because not everything has the same action. You know, things have to be carried by other things and stuff. Like chemicals and stuff. Not all of them can do everything. Like they need other ones to attach to carry them and stuff like that. So, anyway, now like in chemistry class, I was always showing, you know, like the hydrogen and the oxygen. It's because the oxygen's going around the hydrogen. And then you have a whole bunch of those hydrogens, and then you got all these oxygens going around them, and then it can change like these little tiny changes is by like you have less oxygens and the hydrogens, and then there's carbon. Like that's what it all is these things that are all going around each other, and you just change them a little tiny bit and it changes the whole thing. And so that is kind of like you know, like using something in the water to dry out the skin because you want something else to absorb in. It doesn't just absorb as easy. And so you use one thing to help the other thing. Just like creating a lot of mucus in people, and mucus being used as a carrier for sickness or whatever. I saw this tweet or X or whatever you call these things now. I saw this one where it was somebody was saying, you know, these people are bitching about Elon and said, well, he didn't elect Elon. And so then somebody said, well, we didn't elect the group of people, the fraud, the gator, that all of those people that were running us and telling us what we had to do for, you know, to save the planet and stuff. those people, we didn't elect those motherfuckers, and we've been having to be run by them for how long? And so I was like, good point. Like, yeah, we didn't elect those fucking people, and they're out there telling us how to goddamn live. And he's going after the IRS, but some of this spending stuff is so fucking absurd. Like, as somebody was just talking about, they spend millions of dollars to teach like Ethiopians how to make pottery, when the Ethiopians have been making pottery for centuries before our country even existed, and we're going over there and spending millions to teach them. It's like, this is the kind of laundry system that we have. It's stupid, absurd shit that isn't real. But they can put money, oh, well, we got to put money towards that. We got to put money. And there are all these little things. And like I was saying, in that one big packet, there was some of that stuff was being exposed. It was like, well, why do we need to send money for this? Why do we need to send money for that? And I don't know how that all turned out. I remember it just kept being drama. They wouldn't let his stuff go through, and I don't remember if it had to do with the medical. I don't know, but that Barack was there to really bring down America. He's like, I think he's so anti-America. I think he is definitely his loyalty lies in somewhere in the Middle East or something, back at his origin, wherever it is he's from. And he does not like it here, and he does not like, and so he did a lot of things to cause a lot of problems. But he's a plant, all these people are puppets. And yesterday there was something else going on with the money thing or whatever, because Elon keeps showing all this shit. And I said, and then the people keep freaking out. And I'm glad now that there's people saying how psycho that these people are acting. But it's like, why aren't they being outraged by how this money's being spending? Why is it? And that is to the group who follows along with them. See, they got to start thinking outside the box like that. Like, yeah, they're outraged, but why aren't they outraged about how this misspending? But see, a lot of them don't go in and listen. There's like a senator or something who's just going on this huge rant about it. But there's a lot of these people, see, that's how biases hold you back. You don't get the whole story. You're not hearing, all this stuff that he's pointing out. And it's like, these people are bringing up the wrong outrage about the wrong stuff, and they are not outraged about the misspending of the money and stuff. Like, it's crazy. And so they're trying to show that to create the outrage in us. So that's what creates the change, I think. I know that the change occurs. I know all this stuff is going to happen. And this seems to be like, and I know it has to do with us going into our own power. And so it's us wanting it for ourselves. And so to not be screwed over all the time. And so we as a collective, we're not going to stand for that. It's like we set better standards. We're not going to be abused anymore like this. And so that's the wave of change that happens. And we're in the process of it happening, but we still have all these people who are being misled, who aren't listening because, I don't listen to people I don't listen to them and stuff like that. You gotta be listening to everybody. You gotta if you want the whole story, you gotta listen to a lot of people. Like, you can't just pick and choose like your friends. Well, I'm gonna get the whole story from them. Well, then you're getting a biased view of things. You're not getting the whole story. There's a teacher there's a video or audio of him having a fucking meltdown and showing his TDS, and then melting down on this student, freaking out like, oh my gosh, he just loses his shit. I guess he got fired too. But when I was listening to him, I was like, man, I bet you a lot of these people with the TDS, once they come out of it, once they come out of this illusion of mind control, that they're going to go after like the media. It's crazy. It's crazy how they are just high strung on this stuff. And it's so, the fuse is so short. It's just like, dang, man, they lose their shit. And so I think that it won't surprise me at all. Because for one thing, a lot of people won't be able to just take responsibility for being that crazy. And for another thing, it does have a lot to do with the programming. It does have a lot to do with mind control and stuff. So then that's going to be each person's individual journey, because it's your individual journey to yourself. You can go raw or you can try and sugarcoat it. You just gotta, but it's going to be there. It's going to come up, and there's just lots of different perspectives. And you never have the wrong perspective. Just figure that every perspective you ever have is going to be lessons associated with it. So everything has another side, another way of seeing it. So no matter how you choose to look at things, there's always lessons that are associated with it. So, if like somebody who is losing their mind over this stuff, and then they think, well, it's just the programming, and they do this big lawsuit, and the media has to pay them for all their mind control and stuff like that, they may not be going internal enough to really break down some of their things of why they made the choices they made, because they have a scapegoat kind of thing, like, oh, see how it happens. So, but however something plays out is how it's meant to play out. It's how it's always going to play out. Nobody's doing it wrong, but there's just a lot of different things. And I think a lot of stuff has to do with our awareness. And so we can have more awareness, and we can make more choices for ourselves. And we can look at more things, and we can see more things, and go deeper into ourselves. And that's always going to bring you the best benefit. The more deeper you go into your own wounds and to let go of them and stuff. And it's so weird too, is like how many wounds are like repeated over and over and over and over. Like it's these same kind of things, So anyways, when things keep happening and happening to help you heal those wounds, like they're deep wounds. They're wounds that, you don't want to carry around as a orb. You want to be able to fly faster and move quicker and stuff. You don't want to be burdened by things. And I don't think, I don't know. Like when you're just like an orb form, what the effect of these games or whatever this thing is this situation, this reality that we're in, which to me, I look at it as like a video game, like going into like a learning video game and testing your skills or something. And so I don't know, because this isn't real life and we have a life outside of it. I just don't know how much this affects the part of you that you are. Because to me, you're a higher vibration, way higher vibration than this place. It's like, I swear to God, this place is like hell. And in the idea of hell, like where all this bad stuff can happen, and this like all this dark energy that gets off on your misery. So so to me, it's being able to raise yourself out of that. It's like letting the chains go. It's raising yourself out of it's like raising yourself out of the dead, because when you're just living like this three-dimensional life just on autopilot, it is like the living dead. It's weird too. It's like we're the living dead. We kill things to eat it. It's like there's some weird stuff, like, I don't know. That's just kind of weird when you really think about it. Killing things to live off of them. I don't know. It seems very backwards. That seems really upside down in this upside down. I swear to God, I really think so much stuff is going to change when things go right side up. And people are going to see things so differently, and they're going to feel them in a different way than they've ever felt them. And so there's just going to be so much that's going to be changing. So much of things are going to be falling apart. And you can see, just like when you're just watching the collective, when you're observing, you can see the wave of change happening, the questioning things, the way people look into things more, the way that what people pay attention to more and stuff. It's way deeper. But we still have this shallow part, and we still have this part of disguise, It's like so many people just don't really know what's going on. They really don't know what this place is. They don't know what's going on here, and it's like on different levels because I don't think everybody can understand it on the same level. But to me, like I just look at it as like a game. Like this isn't your real life, and you come here to learn because there's lots of challenges, and it is all of the stuff that we go through. I just always see it like an expansion. It's like this expansion, like these things happen, it just expands the universe in knowledge and experience, and that we are a part of that expansion. And then I don't know, it seems like to me when you're just like in orb form and you're just out in the spirit world, that you are just like traveling to another reality, another, like I don't think that um I don't know. I don't know because I think that the spirit world is a real world, but I just feel like that there, I don't know. I feel like that there's more beings or whatever that go into a world, a reality, a place, a place of existence, a place of experience, that more than but yeah, I guess there's experience there. Is I guess there's councils and all sorts of stuff in the spirit world. I don't know. It's just as it's weird because everything is like a cartoon or a dream or something. It's like if you, it's kind of like whatever you want it to be, and then it's kind of like whoever you're in agreement with. Like, I don't know if that's like soul tribes or soul families or whatever, and then we're all in agreement to what a reality is, even though not in it not like if you talk to each other, like, but I mean in a spiritual world of what, you know, it's like we're all gonna go into the same dream together, but, but it's not like I don't know how to explain it. It's some of the things that you can see, but it just is like it's like going from dream to dream to dream to dream, and then what are you doing in between? And I don't know if just that spiritual world where people are just like in their spirit thing. I don't know. Maybe it's like the Emerald City or something. Maybe it's just a one place, and sometimes people go there, and sometimes they just go to their own realities. But in like a lot of other realities, see, it's not like time. Like time is so different here, and I think that is a part of the problem too, where people are always wanting to know what's going to happen at this time or that time or whatever, because time isn't measured like how we look at it. It's not how time is. And and then you have these beings and stuff that are like from the beginning of time, and they're like, I don't know, I don't even know how long really any of this stuff is, like how old this place is, how long the different time periods of experience and stuff, like when did the ages start, when the earth was created, and then there was the giants, and then more beings came and more beings came, and they all started living together, and then there started being battles. Confirmation. The and how the 13 original families play into it, because were they all from one planet? And I don't think that they are Anunnaki. I don't think the Anunnaki and stuff is like Rothschild, Rockefeller people. I swear to God, those people are some kind of shape-shifting vampire people. And I don't think that they're just reptilians. But maybe they are just reptilians, but I don't think all reptilians are bad. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting when the truth comes out, when we really get to see. But it seems like it's kind of just like this slow, tedious process to go through and keep exploring or exposing all these different things. And the money, I guess, because it creates so much outrage because everybody's so broke as fuck, and they just take money from us and then they send it to other countries. Like there's a big thing about Medicare and Medicaid and the misspending, and they're sending it to other countries. And so there's just a lot of shenanigans all with this money, and we shouldn't be so broke. And then there's something about that misspending on the Medicaid, Medicare or something is like 8 or 9% of our deficit. It's like there's just so much shenanigans. And so, but it's kind of tedious as it's all being kind of exposed. And then, but it does go hand in hand with what Donald's doing. It goes hand in hand with the whole thing. And RFK got in, and I'm sure, I don't know if Cash is already in or if they're still trying to give him grief. But man, once that starts going too, there's going to be lots of stuff being exposed about that. Like all these things. I don't know what is Tulsi supposed to be. She's going to be exposing stuff in military or something. I don't know. Because we got the technology and misspending and stuff. And my mom and I were like, because she was like, well, what is this thing? Is it like pick up on, like, is there just like one satellite? Like, is it a Starlink satellite out there and it's got to pick up on that? And so I was saying, and I don't know for sure, but I was saying, I think that there's a whole bunch of satellites out there or something. There's a whole bunch of something out there. And I think that Elon knows more about the technology and the government stuff. And so I think he's using this thing to tap into something that's already out there. I think that there's a whole bunch of satellites that are out there, not just like he's just trying to get where you have to be open to the Starlink one. It's like you just got to be open to the sky. And so I was like, there's got to be a lot of stuff up there. I mean, and no telling. I mean, seriously, no telling. I mean, when he was trying to shoot that rocket up there and stuff, that could have been trying to get us to understand more about the firmament, about showing us how close it was. Like you could see water. Like there's a lot of weird stuff. And if it's like this big artificial blue beam movie screen, like the Truman Show or something, and that's being, and he's trying to expose stuff like that, and I don't know, he knows about some of this stuff or whatever. But anyways, to me, he is trying to expose about, well, he's doing a lot about the money and stuff, but the technology, and I swear when he gets down to the Pentagon, because now it's like, now we're going to IRS. I thought we were going to the Pentagon. Like, what the hell? But, and maybe he's already done that one. I don't know. It's going pretty fast. I'm going through here, sweeping through, and this DOG team is just devouring through all this information, probably because they already had the information anyways. This is just a part of this big show to get the people to see and to get the people to understand and to get the people outraged to create change and stuff like that. But it seems slow and tedious. But the money thing is important. The ARC, he's going to do all this with the medical. It all is going to all start tying in together too. The more it ties in together, the more dark it's going to get too. The more people are going to be like, really start feeling the pressure when they start realizing. Is that well, there was something I had said to my mom about they were talking about the money or something like that. And I said, yeah, because I'm telling you, all these people are going down. This is all going down. And the bankers are the same people who are the puppets, the puppet masters of these people. Like, it's all goes together. The banks are the Rockefeller, Rothschild. Like, these people are going down. Like, it's going down. And she didn't say anything when I had said that one. But it's like people just can't wrap their heads around it. But man, you gotta. And then I have people like, well, how do you know, and stuff like that. It's like, bug, you gotta. I keep on. When the dogs get right here, I'm always like moving my hands or my, and they're always getting smacked. But that is where you gotta have been paying attention. Like, this has been going on for years, and then they want you to give them this like a synopsis of how do you know? What would, give me the facts and stuff. It's like you're just gonna have to watch it play out at this point. Like, this is way bigger to try and get you, because the way I put it together was through my spiritual understanding, knowing we were going into this big change, which was being shown to me anyways through my communication and through my guidance. And so I knew that we had this big change coming, this age of Aquarius thing coming, and everything was going to change. I knew we were going to go into this heaven on earth, this abundant flow time and stuff like that. And so I knew that that was ahead. I didn't know, what would happen or whatever. I just knew that that was going to happen. And then once the absurdity started going, where they started locking us in our houses and telling us how to act out in public and stuff like that, and how to stand and what to wear and all that shit, when things started getting really crazy, then it was kind of like, I felt like a test, like how far can they push us? How far will we allow this to go? And it went far, went really far. Like, people were ready to punch it, like people were fighting with kids, like it was mental. And that showed the brain, the mind control that people are under, not even stop and think things through or anything, to only listen to this one guy when there was other people out there speaking and the media started covering it up. Like, there was a lot going on. You had to be paying attention to that because it all went together. And then I was just fortunate enough to start seeing Charlie Ward, and he had just started his thing too. He had been online for like 2 or 3 weeks. And when I very first started seeing his videos, I think it was talking about this false king, and that was going with the information that I had known. So I started listening, and then he was talking about the money, and that his job was like, he was part of the money laundering in their system. And so he would be on a lot of flights with these people. And so they were talking about this crash was to bring down the economy. And so he was putting pieces together and he was talking about them. And so then listening to him, and then Charlie Freak came in, and Charlie Freak, and some of these guys were all talking to each other. Then they all started kind of arguing with each other over little things or whatever. But Charlie Freak started saying a bunch of stuff that was like, oh, wow, he was telling a lot of stuff. And all the things were going together. And so then I started seeing, once I started seeing what was going on with Donald, it was just like all the pieces were going together. Then I started seeing about the gold standard. Then I started seeing about the maritime law. Then I started seeing about bricks. Like, there are all these different things. Like, it all goes together because you're watching it play out. And so it's a lot of information, and the people want you to, like, it's way too big. Like, there's so much about it. And now, if I think you can catch on to things when you go and you look into things and you're in observation and stuff, but you can just watch it play out. But that doesn't mean like I know exactly the timing, like, and even no matter what, if it's a part of your lesson, like I could have lost that house in anything. I could have lost it in a storm or whatever. And I know those people are like, well, you did it to yourself. You stop paying. You gotta pay your bills. You gotta do this. But that is a part of the influence that they have over us. That's what we're breaking, is this programming, because no, they're charging us for things they shouldn't be charging us for. And we got to stand up and we got to say no. But so many people are so compliant and they just want to play along because they don't want to, well, you just got to do what you got to do. And so we all have to push back. And so I see that as being a part of it all playing out. is that the people pushing back, the people being outraged, the people being like, we don't want this. And that is a part of how the change occurs. And then when you're watching it all play out and you're watching it and how the people are it's happening, like all this stuff is happening, it just is more slow. But then you think of how big it is, and you think, well, it has to go slow because it's so big and there's so many people who can't handle it, and it is very emotional and there's a lot going on. And once, even with all this buildup, once the money thing goes, people are going to freak. Like, I don't know how they're going to play it out. I've said this all along. Like, I don't know. Are we going to go, we're going to have the banks not open and then people freaking out and everything crashing around us? Or is it going to be a different, I mean, anything can play out. Like, I didn't know that they were going to play it out like this. He was going to have all these different people come in to expose all this different stuff, which is really cool. It's really, fun to see it finally have things being exposed and have things starting to fall apart. Just watching these people freaking the fuck out, it is embarrassing. And like Marine Waters or whatever, is sitting there saying, we don't even know what they've got on us. It's like, they've got it all, bitch. Like, you're going down. Oh, yeah, and they've got Wendy Williams trapped in this building under a guardianship. It's just like, it seems like a show. It seems like a total show. And DMZ is talking about it and stuff. And so she had the same, she got diagnosed with the same thing as Bruce Willis has. Well, Bruce Willis, he gets to be home with his family. But Wendy Williams, and she was alcoholic. And so I guess she was a big old drunk. And up until 2 years ago. And so she was talking crazy and doing a bunch of weird shit. But now people who know her say that she was drunk and that she was not, now that she's sober, she doesn't have this dementia problem anymore. Now she's perfectly fine, and they're keeping her locked up. And it's like in this big window, and she's up there crying and dramatic and talking on the phone, and TMZ's talking to her and stuff, but they are keeping her like a prisoner in this guardianship thing. They brought up these guardianship things so many times throughout this awakening, like Britney Spears, I don't even know, but this guardianship, I think Amanda Bynes, these different ones. And so it's like keeping them trapped and making them do whatever you want or something. And so there's just a lot of control in this business where people think like, oh, actors, they get it all and have it all. But there's a lot of weird shit. A lot of handlers, a lot of mishandle, like a lot of weird shit. And, it's definitely a storyline. It's a story to play out. It's not just like to sit back and be like, oh God, they've got the greatest life ever. They've got a storyline going. They've got shit going on. And so I would think that some of this stuff is to expose. Maybe it is to kind of make people see like not everybody who was out there was bad. Some of them were being held captive. Some are under mind control. Some are under fear. I think something to like in the music industry, like when they were ripping all these guys off and they were making them go and do all these concerts and albums and doing all this stuff, and then they'd come back and they didn't have any money. Well, they had enough money to get the heroin. So it was like, well, we'll keep you stocked up on the heroin throughout the trip and the hotel rooms. And then they go in and tear up the hotel rooms. And then they'd have all this money going into these hotel rooms and all of this stuff that would go on. But now I think it was the drugs were to kind of lull their madness or their anxiety or whatever towards what was happening to them. And then that probably was even a part of them tearing up the hotel rooms and stuff. It was probably like this acting out. Probably some of those bands were kind of paid to set a tone, like instigate a certain tone, like rock and roll, man, tear up the room and throw TVs out the windows of hotels and have girls hanging from the bar or the rafters and all sorts of crazy shit. Um, but some of it I think was drug induced and stuff. But I think it all goes back to them creating criminals, like making things hard on people and making people do things out of desperation. And I think that I don't think like all the musicians were just a bunch of drug addicts. I think that they created a bunch of drug addicts out of a bunch of creative people because they wanted to manipulate the situation, and they always want to keep the creators in lockdown. They don't want people to be free range thinking and open minded and seeing things clearly. Like they want to keep us blocked. And so they definitely, and like I've said before, when you go into a creative state of mind, you go into a connection to the universal consciousness. And so it's expansive. And so they want to keep people more contained. And so they want to keep your mind very contained. They want to keep it, oh, yeah, that is like what they started doing with these last couple generations, whatever generation where they start getting them on the devices from the time they're a baby, and keep their minds going and keep their minds going, because then they aren't out there thinking and thinking for themselves and looking into things and creating and stuff. They just keep their minds going, and then they can keep their minds going, and then they can start directing it, how to think and stuff. And so they can create waves of emotion and desire through this mind control thing, and keeping people in this little world of a screen. Like, so, but, all this stuff is always like so much, it's like nefarious corruption of, but when you break it down, still, it's like we come here of free will. We come here for this experience. We come here for these challenges. We come here to go through this for the expansion, for the knowledge. And it's, so there's purpose in it. It's not a trap. Well, I mean, there's lots of people who see it as a trap in a prison and stuff like that. Like, there's going to be parts, we'll have to see as it opens up. I think that there became a part where it plays out like a trap. It can keep you trapped, but you have to recognize, that's a part of the game, is recognizing the traps, recognizing the obstacles, recognizing the challenges, and knowing what to do with them. Man, it's so trippy, because it's like these two different worlds. You're in the three-dimensional game world, or you can focus on the spiritual world, which, if you focus on the spiritual world, then you are odd man out. People think you're weird as shit. But I can't help it. Like, this, it wasn't like I was only 3. It wasn't like I was out searching for spirituality or something. It found me. It came to me. And it kept harassing me all the time when I was a little kid. It was always telling me. So it was like, this is what I came here for. It wasn't like I, was like, it was like, I wasn't ever in search of, I always knew. I've always been talking to him. I've always been in this other world. I've always seen things in his other ways and stuff. So, I don't know. It's weird, because I do feel like I'm of another world, and then I'm in this world though, but I feel like my mind or my loyalty or whatever is to this other world that to a lot of people doesn't exist, but that I totally trust. And so, and even when things seem, bleak, I still trust that they're not. And there's so many people who only see it as, well, it's just bleak. And I'm like, it's temporary. It's gonna, honey, what is it? So she's been doing this lately. I've been worried about this. I worry about cancer, especially because before we went to the healing center, they didn't run all those tests. And she had like something like a stroke or something, but that's when they said, well, it could be like a brain tumor, it could be a stroke. I got more of the horse paste, And so I think I'm going to start her back on it orally again. But I mean, I know she's getting older. Honey, come here. What is it? She did get her finger cut, or her nail caught in the blanket the other day, or last night. What is it? Why are you shaking her head? Come here. Her tail has just been knocking shit over. It's like, oh my God, you knocked over the huge, oh my gosh, this huge thing broke, just shattered. Her tail is like, okay, well, she's got things that she needs done now. She wants out. So, let's just wrap this up. I'm probably just on repeat. I swear to God, sometimes I feel like I just repeat. So let's look at my tooth real quick and see that. I can't see it that good. It looks like it's like dark right there. And it feels like a hole. I don't think it's getting worse though. I think it just is like it goes through these phases of dark light, going through, kind of like micro, macro of this world, going through phases, dark light. Just remember what we're doing here, though, is we're going towards the light. And so we're going towards learning how to love ourselves, love everyone, and how to have a loving day. And I'm going to try and download this, and let's see what happens. I'll talk to you later. Bye.